What's up, desktoppers? In this video, we discuss why Chris Bumstead has said he just wants one more Olympia, and he speaks on retirement, his mindset, plus much more going into this 2022 Classic Physique Olympia. So we got all that plus much more coming up in this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. What's up, desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and let's launch straight into this one. So Chris Bumstead appeared on the latest episode of the Ronline Report, which is Muscular Development's interview show with Ron Harris. 37-minute interview, great interview. Really enjoy hearing from Chris Bumstead, his thoughts, his mindset, all that sort of stuff. And after watching this interview, I like Chris Bumstead even more than I actually previously did. And I'm a huge fan of this dude. So it was really, really cool. But let's get into it. I'm going to basically play some of that interview, react to it, and give my opinion because he speaks on retirement and a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to actually dissect exactly what he says and exactly where his head's at going into this 2022 Mr Olympia.
At that time, I think you talked about, I'm going to retire by 30. Definitely don't want to be doing it that much longer, but you've got a good handle on your health now. You got 3 titles already. You're still only 27. Do you still think I'm going to retire by this or with this many wins, or are you just taking it year by year now?
I'm taking it more year by year now for sure. I think it was a little foolish to think that I could predict the future of when I would be ready to be done and just like pick a day and that would be okay, I'm good now.
So for reference, Chris Bumstead is only 27 years of age. So even if he does retire at 30, which I think is probably an approximate age where Chris Bumstead might retire, if he doesn't retire after this year's Mr Olympia, then I'd say it's probably pretty accurate because only turned 27 this year. That gives him another 3 years at the Mr Olympia. And I think, if he goes and wins another 3 titles, he solidifies himself as a huge name in the industry for years and years to come because it's going to take a while before anyone can actually break that classic physique record. Also, one other thing, I wish they actually had Chris Bumstead's face on the screen right now while he's talking about this and not his actual posing routine in the interview because you want to see his facials and his reactions while he's talking about something serious like that. So hopefully next time they actually include that because for the first little bit, you're only seeing a posing routine.
I think it's more something now where I'm like genuinely like, my answer is always, I want one more Olympia. And people are like, oh, so you're done this year? I'm like, no, I just want one more. And then depending how this year goes, how I feel mentally, physically afterwards, if I'm excited and hungry for more, I'm going to do another one. If not, I won't.
So it's cool that Chris Bumstead's at that stage where he can go, if I want to retire, I just can. You know what I mean? It's really one of those things where he's in control of it. He's taking it one Olympia at a time. And this is what many sports teams and athletes do. They say one contest at a time, if it's a tennis player, it's one Grand Slam at a time, one tournament at a time. And they need to just sort of do it that way because if you actually go in totality of how many, he might want to win to become, the winningest Olympia champion of all time, if he wants to win 10 or something like that, it's very hard to go, okay, I've got to do this 8 more times or 7 more times for 7 more years. That's a huge amount of years prepping and putting your body through that because anyone who's done a hard contest prep knows how hard a hard contest prep is and how taxing it is on your body. And if you go 8 more years of that, he's probably taking into account his health and all that sort of stuff. It's hard to conceptualize when it's, 8 years in your mind, but when it's 1 year at a time, just one more Olympia, chase that feeling once again, then it becomes much, much easier. So that's a smart thing on Chris Bumstead's part.
And I mean, having that kind of detachment that I don't have to do it has like allowed me to fall into more of a mindset where I get to compete and I'm more excited to. And it's just like something that I am like grateful to receive instead of something I have to do. I have to get more Olympias. I have to be a 5-time, 6-time, I'm just like, I get one more year at least. I'm going to give my all. Depending on that, I might get another one and I'm just going from there and enjoying it as I'm in it.
Very, very smart. 1 year at a time, like I mentioned just before. I think that's the smartest route for any champion that's on the top because really there's nothing else to chase outside of being the best in your sport unless it's things outside of your sport, which Chris Bumstead is doing now. He's part of a Raw and Revive team. He's a part owner working with Matt Jansen and Dom over there and doing a great job at, advancing things in his business career as well at the same time. And I think he needs to chase that because he needs more than just winning Olympia titles. Yeah, you can say, I want to be the winningest Olympia champion ever, or I want to win 6, or I want to win 8. But what does that really mean to Chris Bumstead in his life? Does it make his life better? So I think that this is obviously a great mindset to have.
I think if you're like competing at the level I am with the level of things coming into your life, if you're not focusing on your mental health and your mind and the way you think about things and getting to know yourself on a level at which best you operate, then you're going to fall apart, and you're just silly not to focus on that. So I've definitely, I listen to podcasts, read books. I do have a therapist as well who I talk with just to kind of help me like dive into my mind a little deeper and better get to know myself and the way I'd like to operate in this world.
So it's really cool that he actually goes and actually puts the time into his mental health and sees a therapist as well. Because when you're at that level, it's very hard because no one else is on that same level unless you're talking about other Olympia champs and other people that are so dominant or other people that are so popular in the industry. So there's very few people for Chris to actually talk to that can relate exactly with where he's at.
So what was harder? Was winning the first Olympia harder, or has defending it been harder?
I mean, every year comes up with its own difficulties and challenges in life itself that kind of play into bodybuilding, obviously. But I think in terms of like mindset and just staying focused, it's harder to maintain the top position rather than get it, because it's just exciting. You're trying to get something new, and I don't know, people like chase new cars or new shirt, new outfits, like, and then you get it and you're gonna, oh, I got it.
I love hearing Cbum talk about this because he can speak from experience on this matter, because he's obviously had the stage success, which everyone knows about in bodybuilding. He's won multiple Classic Physique Olympia titles, but he's also had the success financially as well, which comes with that. So he's, been able to buy the material possessions and all that sort of stuff. So he knows what it feels like to have those things and to not have those things obviously prior as well. People forget that he wasn't always, rich and rolling in it and winning Classic Physique Olympia titles. So he can speak from experience for sure. And I've heard this from other top athletes, guys that are at the very top. It's hard to keep that motivation up because what are you chasing? A second, a third, a fourth title, and what does that mean to them personally for all that hard work? So at a certain point, that's why guys retire, and people say, why would you retire when you're on top? That's exactly why. And so they can go out on top and, not have I suppose, a sour feeling in their last contest or in their last Olympia or all that sort of stuff. So everyone wants to go out on top, but it rarely happens. But I think with Chris Bumstead, I think that's what will happen at the end of his career.
People don't understand the feeling of like that chase is like everything you're working for. It's this dopamine rush. You're getting excited, and as soon as you get it, it's this huge rush of this win, the success, and then afterwards you're just like, it's over, like it's done now. And then it's almost like, what was that all worth it? And it's kind of like a reset, building that back up and then back down. And every year after the Olympia, I kind of get like a mild Olympia blues, not like horrible, but like it's this huge dopamine rush, and you have a limited amount of dopamine in your brain to release. But afterwards, being able to maintain that and being like, holy shit, like I've got to go through all that again. And
so pretty much reaffirming exactly what I just said. What does 3 Olympia titles mean more than 2? Does 5 mean more than 4? And so on. It's how much more does that actually matter to him? Unless he's going for like 10 or something crazy like that, then what's the point? And also, he's the most winningest Classic Physique Olympia champion already. So that's another factor why it's going to be actually hard to motivate himself to just keep going and keep going and keep going year after year.
Just for what, a fourth time, a fifth time? Like, what do these numbers matter? It's a more of a mental challenge, and people understand, I think, to continuously stay on top and keep doing things. And when there's a lot of outside noise coming in constantly, the eyes are on you, expectations are on you. It can change things for sure. And that's why another main reason I focus so much on my mindset towards competing is because if I can just train as hard as I can and eat good, what the fuck does it matter if I'm coming after a fourth title or a first one or a pro card or whatever it is? Like, I'm doing the same shit since I've been doing since I was a little kid, and I've loved it since then. So why not keep doing it to the best of my ability and learning new ways to do it better? So
Chris Bumstead is awesome. Like, honestly, I've had almost the same battle on a very low level, obviously on an amateur level, where you've gone sort of, do I want to compete anymore? But I still am going to want to get lean at some stage and do a transformation and get in shape and really do all the things I do for a contest. But because you got this expectation and this pressure on yourself to actually go and do a comp prep and all that sort of stuff, it sort of goes, oh, that's a lot harder it has to be and all that sort of stuff. But if I was actually just doing a transformation to get in great shape and don't have the actual comp connected to it, then I'd probably do it anyway. So I think Chris has a great mindset in terms of doing all this. He might go though, at some stage, because of his health, he might go, it's not worth pushing it to this level. But maybe I just want to get in shape and stuff for photo shoots and whatnot for his company. And I'm sure he's thought about all that sort of stuff as well. But really, at the end of this video, I think Chris Bumstead, he might go one more time, he might go 2 more times, but I don't think we're going to see Chris Bumstead on stage for another 5+ years. I think he takes his health too seriously. I think that obviously business is a big thing for him. He did talk about retiring at 30, which is just 3 years away right now. And it's, it's going to suck when Chris Bumstead retires because he's such a big name in this industry. He also brings a lot of notoriety and popularity to it. But when Chris Bumstead does decide to stop competing, there's plenty of stars in that classic physique like Urs Kalasinski, Ramon, Terrence Ruffin, Breon. There's just so much talent coming through as well. There's too many names to even list. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this interview with Ron Harris on Muscular Development. And, you know, when do you think Chris Bumstead will ultimately retire? Will it be just one more Olympia, or will he go for like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you did like and appreciate this content, please give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So I'm Xavier Wills, this has been Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.